What's up, guys? It's Dorkatronprime. I'm going to be sharing with you guys a Titamon deck profile, which I think, honestly, Titamon has potential to be tier 1 this meta, considering it's looking like decks that kill with OTKs or kill with a lot of pressure in the early game is very strong this meta. And on top of that, we have a bunch of purple support for drawing and discarding, so I just wanted to go ahead and jump into that. So for eggs, we're going to be doing 4 Demi-Meramons. I think you don't add a 5th egg just because you want to keep that draw and discard ability active at all times. The Sunamon is really good until you need the discard to gain a memory or to put out an Eisemann. And this card guarantees you have an Eisemann in trash or an Eisemann coming out. So that's our babies. So now we're gonna jump into the rookies. We're gonna have 1, 2, 3, and 3 Goblin Mons from BT2. This is the Goblin Mon when basically something gets deleted, you draw 2, discard 1. I wasn't running this card. I had to end up adding it because your bodies do end up dying this format a bit. And if they do, you can just draw 2, start setting up even more your trash, start adding more cards. This dies with Eisemann, you draw 5. Actually, you draw 6, 6. So you draw for Digivolve, that's 1. You draw for Digivolve again, that's 2. And then on deletion, you should be drawing 3, discarding 2, and then drawing 2, discarding 1. So that's a total of 7 draws. And then with the baby, it's 8, and you're discarding 4 cards, which is pretty huge. About 4 cards, right? That's 8. Yeah, 4 cards. So that's our first rookie choice, which is pretty great. Our second one is our on-play draw discard. So you kind of want to send this to trash or put this out just to activate Titamon's effect to get the discard and then get him the +1 and 2K. As well as setting up an Eisemann in trash from your hand to the trash and then to the board. That's basically how that works. But so you basically go into Titamon, you bring this back, you get a body, and then this body activates effect. You draw, you discard an Eisemann, and you bring out the Eisemann. So you get 3 bodies for the price of 1 Titamon. Okay, so our next cards are gonna be 4 Goblin Mons. The draw this card. This card is overall, I think, the best rookie in purple, as it does help you cycle through your deck so much faster than any other rookie. Being able to swing, not lose your body, and then just draw a discard per turn. I think this card is absolutely amazing. It also procs a bunch of effects like the Ginkakumon, gain a memory, Eisemann. It's really consistent, and it makes it so that there's a threat on board that they have to get rid of. So we run 3 Gauzy Mons. This meta, there's gonna be a lot of memory gaining between Pokemon and Blue. Pokemon Blue, so you're gonna have to start avoiding, you're gonna have to try to stop this memory gain from going too crazy. Even against the purple matchup, you need this on board to try to stop their crazy plays. I think this is a great card. It's been overused. We're gonna play 1 Guillemon. That's just because we do play Blackboard Rails, and on deletion you gain a memory, so that's pretty nice. We only run 1 because as soon as you see it in trash, the setup is always just gonna be there for you to get into it. We're gonna be playing 2 Loemon or Jagger Loemon. I'm not sure which. I haven't tested both hybrids yet. This is the slot I want to put it in though. At 2. We're gonna be playing 2 Ginkakumons. Ginkakumon gonna be giving us that memory when we discard, making our Lady Devi cheaper, making the Lady Devi cheaper. You're gonna be making Titamon cheaper. You're gonna be making Nidhogg cheaper. This card is just overall just a really good option. I'm trying to figure out what would be the ratios. It's just really hard since the champion list is just so tight already. But yeah. So the reason why there's so many champions in this deck list is basically just going to be because you're thinking of most of these cards as if they were options, and you're not really going to be playing them with Digivolving, or you're going to be playing the other champion in your hand. So this is the other champion. This is not the other champion in your hand. This is going to be the one staying in your hand. When you start to stack up Eisemanns in a position where if you lose a body, like let's say with Gabumon, you lose a body and you draw to discard 1 Eisemann, you get out a body. Then you discard, draw and discard for Demimera, you get a second body. So Eisemann is this very like has a lot of play value, because as long as you have the Eisemann scatter mode and trash, you can play it for free when you discard it. So you can either play it as a defensive card that lets you come back the next turn, or you can just spam out the board and just go straight, oh, I'm gonna go wide as hell. But if you know your Digimon is gonna die, there's also a situation where if they swing into that Digimon, you have the possibility of dropping 2 Eisemanns, which is honestly just as good as if you had that body on board still. So we're gonna play 4 of the scatter modes. I was running 3, but I ended up having to jump back to 4. You really do need to see this in trash to get the full value, and it's also just discard fodder. On top of that, you draw 3 and you discard 2, so it's never bad. At 4, we're gonna be playing 1 Ogremon. As soon as you see this card, you can either on play it, or you can just trash it, depending on how your opponent's playstyle and the deck they're playing. And always the situation. So basically, you go up into to Mega, you discard Eisemann, for example, and you play Ogremon. You get Ogremon and Eisemann. Ogremon's effect, discard another Eisemann, play another Eisemann, so you have 4 bodies. Or you could just discard this to get it in trash, set it up, and then you can just discard Eisemann and play an Eisemann and pop a 4. It's really good. I think this meta, especially with a lot of 4s, having this at least at 1 or 2 should be a tech play into doing more. Even just on dropping it for 5, you get an Eisemann, and that's pretty good on its own. There's also, you can on drop it for 5 and you can activate Orochimon's effect to draw if you're bricked, or you can just on play it and activate Nidhogg's effect to discard, and you gain a memory, so it costs 4. So there's a lot of cool plays with this card. It's a body, you can Digivolve over it. It's really good. We're gonna be playing 2 blockers. We're gonna be playing 2 Devimons. Basically, you want to be running Devimon just because this meta, having 1 or 2 blockers is the way to go. Compared to last meta where blockers were non-existent. This meta, I think, relies on blockers because a lot of the decks just spam out hybrids, and if the hybrids can't really hit you, they have to find a new win condition, or they have to go wider, which is giving you more memory. They can also stun the blocker, but they would have to go through the effort of going around this card, which is great. It also costs 1, and it's really good to turbo into a mega with this as well. You can go into Blackboard Rails. So let me actually get the cards really quick. So running 2 Blackboard Rails. We might be changing this again to 3 and dropping 1 Orochimon. But Blackboard Rails, basically what it's going to do is it's going to Digiburst, play a rookie, and set up a champion in trash. So if you're in a position where you need to get to mega fast because your opponent is just turboing out and you don't have an answer to that turbo, you go into a Blackboard Rails, you Digiburst, you get a blocker in trash, you get a Ogremon in trash, a Shademon, an Eisemann in trash, and then you just set up there with the second body. I know the Eisemann setup can be kind of slow as well, so that's why we play this card, just to do a little bit of aggro, not as much as like other decks, but it does help because you can just play the Guillemon, or you can play the Goblin Mons, and you can either set up on that board, or you can Digivolve over this, going into a Titamon or Nidhogg to pop something, and you have 2 bodies to play with next turn. You can Digivolve into another Eisemann. It's really good. This card, I think at 2 is probably where it's gonna stay, because we do run another card that is supposed to just be that effect that this card has. So we're gonna be playing 3 Orochimons. This is like that other ultimate that you don't ever Digivolve into. You're just discarding it for the draw. If you do Digivolve into it, is like last case scenario. Yeah, this card is really good. You discard it, you draw 3 for Lady W, for example. You discard this card and something else, and then you draw an extra card. You discard this off Demimera, you draw an extra card. So it's never a brick, it's more like an option card, which is really good. So then we run 3 Lady W's. It's kind of hard not to play this card, even though it is slower. If you have the option to Digivolve into Orochimon or Lady Devi in the back, I recommend going into Orochimon. But the Lady Devi does put in that crazy work when it draws 3 and it discards 2. So if you're discarding the Orochimon, you get an extra draw as if you had a Sunamon. And then if you have a Eisemann in your hands, you can discard 2 and possibly play 2. I've done it only like once or twice, but it does get your board wider. If you do get an Eisemann out, you can Digivolve this over it to get an extra push and a lot more pressure on board. But this card is overall just really good. I can't wait till the Altards come out for this season. And then our last ultimate is going to be Guillemon. You run a lot of cards that draw and discard. That Gabumon that draws and discards can proc this effect more often. You're not really going to be Digivolving into this either. It's kind of like a Orochimon, where you just want this to be basically a card that comes out of your hand. That's it. Between this and Orochimon, you Digivolve them in the back if you really need it. But otherwise than that, you're discarding this to set up a Titamon with Retaliation. You swing with an Eisemann. You discard for Gabu. You draw this card with Gabu. You discard this. You put it under the Eisemann, and you swing at an Omega. Yeah, this card is really not for Digivolving. But if you do Digivolve, it does get the trash one, 3000 DP. So swinging 10k at security, which isn't bad. But yeah. So we're running 3 Titamons. Why we're running 3 Titamons is because it's kind of like you want to see this card often, but not that often either. So what happens is that you're drawing so much that drawing into a 4th of this or drawing into 3 of these in the beginning of your game is actually slowing you down. When you can see another card that can push or get you more value, because they kind of just float in your hand until you decide to go into Mega. Also, you don't want to be discarding these as often, but if you do, we do play a mat, so you can add this back to your hand, and if it's hidden security, you can add it back to your hand with mat. So we're drawing so much that we're not worried about not seeing the Titamon. We're running it at a 3 because we just don't want to have 4. 4 Titamon sitting in your hand is pretty heavy. But yeah, this card does everything it wanted to do last set, but a little bit better. Because you don't need a inheritable to make it 3. You don't need the memory. You don't need crazy memory to get full value. You discard a Nidhogg, and you already gain a memory. So he's 3 basically almost whenever you want, as long as you have a Nidhogg in hand. You play cards that would play like draw discard, like the Labramon, and then you discard discard an Eisemann. So there's a lot of value off this card already. We still do play the Ginkakumons. I kind of want to bump them up by 1 more, so that way we have a guaranteed gain of memory. So it's 2, because you can make this card 2. You can make this card even. Technically, you can make it 1, but you can make it at 2. The lowest probably is going to be most of the time 2. If you have the Ginkakumon, and then we would put probably like 1 hybrid, and then the second one would be another Ginkakumon. But yeah, so that's gonna be Titamon, the main winner of the deck, and then Nidhogg is actually our second winner of the deck, considering every card in this deck gives this card value. The Gabumon gives this card value. The Lady, the Titan, the Eyes, just being able to gain a memory whenever you want is absolutely amazing. So if you're in a position where if your opponent destroys your Mon, and they're about to go for game, you can always pop this. You can always pop this Digimon from your hand if they destroy it, and discard it, and you gain a memory. So you end your opponent's turn. Or if, like, you know, they needed that extra turn to go crazy, you just, like, this card is, as well as offensively, a very good defensive card. It makes Titamon 3, it makes Lady 2, it does whatever it needs to do, and then when Digivolving, you can trash a card from your hand to pop a level 4 or lower, which actually helps out a lot. So it does a lot, in my opinion. We really like this card. We want to be running it at 4, not because it's going to be our main Mega, but just the discard option. So even though it's not our main Mega, if you ever need to go into it, you know it's not going to be a bad option though, because it does pop something on board. It trashes your hand, something from your hand, which can be an Eisemann, which can be your setup champions or rookies, and then you just go from there. It can also be a slight turbo way to go into our 7s, which are going to be 2 Zwart defeats. Playing Zwart defeat this meta is just absolutely mandatory, because you need to get into a 7 to pop a how do you say it? A tamer. Also, if it's hidden security, it comes out for free. And then on deletion, it pops a random it pops a Digimon of your choosing, and it doesn't even have to have a requirement. It just pops a Digimon. So there's kind of a couple of ways to pop this Digimon, like with Wargrowl, with Deathclaw, with Demonic Disaster, which is our second option card we're running. So this card is just overall really good. It destroys your opponent's tamers, it slows them down, it makes them want to pay more. So that's our 7s, and then for options, we're running 1 Deathclaw and 1 Demonic Disaster. Deathclaw is to get full value out of Zort. You pop the Zort, you kill something level 4 or lower, and then Zort kills another body on board, whatever body you want. So Deathclaw also in security, destroying a level 4 in a hybrid meta where there's a bunch of level 4s. This card's absolutely great. It can pop a blocker if you need it for the game. It costs 1, which is huge, and I think that's like the best part about it. It also pops Eisemann to proc Eisemann's effect to draw 3, discard 2 if it doesn't die. So a big part of the issue with Eisemann is if it doesn't die, you don't get full value. So guaranteeing its death to trade is awesome. Also, you can just use this card just to pop it. You don't have to. Your opponent doesn't have to have a level 4 to pop your for you to pop your Eisemann, which is absolutely amazing. Demonic Disaster is our second option card. So let's say you swing with your rookie, it doesn't die. You swing with your Eisemann, it doesn't die. You play a rookie from your hand, you draw a discard, and then you play Demonic Disaster, pop that rookie, restand the Eisemann. So this also helps with the OTK with Titamon, and it also helps with anything on board that needs to get popped that you need to get further pressure with. This card will guarantee it dies if you don't have a Blackboard Rails under. So the Blackboard Rails and this card just kind of mesh well together in my opinion, because you can either get this or that. And security basically has the effect to play a rookie, and then in your hand, just destroying something to unsuspend to get that 1 extra swing is huge. This meta, there's going to be a lot of smaller Digimon, so popping something to get a restand is going to be kind of huge if something doesn't die. And that's like the worst case scenario. I think you lose mostly because you don't die in security, or if you don't, if your opponent decides to ignore your Digimon. Obviously that isn't always the best play for them, because I'm always getting value off just swinging. And then I just get later value with that Digimon, but if they're OTKing, it doesn't matter. It's just 1 straight shot, let's knock out everything. So we play 1 mat and 1 Sora. I was running 2 mats, but it's kind of useless after the first one. But you do add the card back to your hand. I've never seen a reason to not play at least 1 mat in every purple deck. Well, what I think is, at least for this color, there's no really strong tamer to be running at 4 or at 3. So we run mat just for the memory, add that 1 card to our hand. After that, it just completely loses value. We do play the hybrids now, so we can digivolve over the mat, but that's going to be like our last case scenario. And then the Sora and Mimi is going to be helping us draw and discard a bit more. It also forces our opponent to play level 4s or level 3s, which we have consistent ways to get rid of them, with the Lady Devimon, with the Lady Devimon, the Nidhogg, the Titamon with the Ogremon, or the Ogremon by itself, or the Deathclaw. So there's multiple ways to get rid of level 4s consistently. So this card also paired up with Matt is actually really strong, because they just make sure you have enough memory to go crazy if your opponent doesn't meet this requirement. We also thinking about playing just something else, but this one is, we're gonna try it out. If not, we're gonna try different colors tamer just to have that extra 2 memory. But I think overall the deck is playing really fast, faster than I thought. The Nidhogg honestly makes the deck like a free hammer spark, which is great. And it also like it builds to your requirements, so you don't need like specific lines for Titamon anymore. You can just go however you want to build it and just discard 1 card or 2 cards, and then you just get maximum value out of it, which is great. I think that's what it was missing before, was literally just a Nidhogg to go to that tier that we want it to be. So sorry if I went on a information dump. I've been really trying to test out the deck. I made a couple of changes, and I'm sharing with you those changes now. And the deck might honestly change in the future. I see there is a really big potential for this deck to be tier 1, honestly. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked the video, and remember, we brick by nature.